You're watching Plus Politics, and this is Plus TV Africa. Now, the youth wing of Ohanaeze Ndigbo says the rearrest order against Nnamdi Kanu would lead to the destabilization of the peace in the region. Now, the group made this reference to the, quote, previous killings and brutalization of people belonging to the region, which led to an increase in the demand for Biafra after he was released on bail in 2017. Nnamdi Kanu said that any attempt to enforce the order would provoke him to activate a legal assault against Nigeria, arguing that the charges against him are trumped up. Now, joining me in the studio to discuss this issue, I have Ogene Riebuwe. Oh my goodness, Soje, he is a public affairs analyst. I always struggle with your name. It's good to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
Ogene Riebuwe. I got it.
Great effort.
And also joining us again is Ayo Ademilu. He's an attorney. He is of the NBA Lekki Forum. He's the secretary. Thank you for joining us. Now, we can see what Nnamdi Kanu's response to Justice Binta Nyako's judgment, and she has said the case will continue even in his absence, and the charges that are against him are a lot of them. But he's also said that these charges are being trumped up. I'm going to start with you, Ayo, because you are a lawyer and you know legalese. So Nnamdi Kanu is threatening the government, saying, I read his statement, that he's a British citizen. Yeah, exactly. First things first, as much as he's also a Nigerian citizen, but that he's daring them to use the Interpol, and he would show Nigeria that he would, you know, bring charges also against us as a country. But again, over the weekend, some people from the Southeast region were begging for a pardon from the presidency, asking that they let this issue go because they were enjoying some form of peace in that region since Nnamdi Kanu was out of the picture. Where do you stand on this as a legal practitioner?
I think we felt for need to get the scenario very clearly about what is exactly happening here. First and foremost, we are aware of the fact that Nnamdi Kanu himself was released on bail, and he has shorties that with which he was released at that time. Anyway, there are conditions attached to bail, and in any event, he has one way or the other, the court has found that he has breached those conditions of that bail. It's on that premises that the court now revoked his bail and has now made order for his trial in absentia. In any event, based on Nigerian law, he can be tried in absentia. The only exception is he needs to be present in court for the sentencing. How the Nigerian government wants to do that is another issue entirely. Now, to his claim as to the fact that he's now a British citizen, ordinarily he can enjoy multiple citizenship. In any event, you know, he's canvassing for the acceleration of a Republic of Biafra within the Nigerian something. In fact, the charges against him are what we call treasonable felony, levying war against the Nigerian state, and all those kind of felonious charges. So, where does this is invocation of British citizenship, what does it now come in? It now throws up an issue of international law, because now he has invoked his rights as a citizen of Britain. The first question is number one, can there be a criminal proceeding against a British citizen or a foreign national in Nigeria when he is not in Nigeria? The answer is yes, and the answer is no. It will be yes in the scenario where, as the case is with Nnamdi Kanu now, that he already has that matter instituted against him in Nigeria. He was even arraigned. Those charges were read to him. He pleaded to them. He pleaded not guilty to those charges. His plea has been taken, and he has even been granted bail
on health grounds,
on health grounds, and all that. It's another thing if he wants to claim refugee status. You know, it's another thing entirely. But if he's saying that he's a citizen of Nigeria or of Britain, and on that basis he has nothing to do with Nigeria, all the criminal proceedings and the historical background to that proceedings, the answer in law is no. But now the other scenario is where it will be yes. It's where you are based in Britain, and you don't have any transaction with Nigeria, and criminal proceedings is instituted against you or your company in Nigeria, then that will fail. Now, but we need to get the background of what we are dealing with here. We are dealing with an offshoot or an offspring of dysfunctional Nigerian state. In any event, the agitation for Biafra, with all the historical background and all that, is in itself a failure of the fact that we have not been able to resolve what we call the national question in this part of the world. The question of how do we determine our resources, and who are who, how do we define our identity, and all of that. So, back to what you said, the legal bottom line is that based on the proceedings against him, the options are there for the Nigerian government to repatriate him to answer those charges, or based on international law regulations, or as based on his own threat, he can institute an action. Yes, he can really institute an action in Britain, challenging the criminal proceedings against him in Nigeria. He can.
But how weighty will that be? How strong would that particular one be, being that, like you stated, he has already been arraigned? He has gone through a process. He was released on health grounds on bail, and there were shorties standing in for him who till today are not able to account for his whereabouts, who are also asking the court to relieve them of this shorty because they cannot account for his whereabouts.
When I said they can institute an action in Britain, is that he can invoke the protection of the British state, on the grounds of the fact that of invoking a refugee status, that, oh, I am a citizen of Britain, and the proceedings against me in Nigeria, I find them to be against my fundamental right as a person. You know, the issue of self-determination in itself is a right protected by Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Okay, just
so
hold,
those are the kind
hold
of legal
that thought,
options,
because I'm going to come back to talk about what Britain has to say about that. But let me read something that Nnamdi Kanu said. Now, he said that he described the alleged plan by the federal government to arrest him with international police as an effort in futility. And I'm wondering, what does this mean? Does he know something that the government does not know, saying, catch me if you can, because that's also part of his message, catch me if you can. And plus the fact that he's giving us another side to it, is it going to be tough for Nigeria to get him, because it sounds like he's in the UK right now, to be able to get him out?
It's traveling across the world from information we have. Let me just take your last statement that if he's sought refugee status, then he's exonerated from the law here. That is assuming that he's not truly a British citizen. If he's a British citizen, then he doesn't need to
seek asylum
or refugee status.
Of course,
the reality is that he's a British citizen, and he's traveling across, and it brings to mind that the Interpol, what he has said there, is effort in futility, because he's truly a British citizen by law right now, and the Interpol is an international from what he said, the Interpol don't act or behave like the local police here, and that such charges will be looked into through the prism of the rule of law
internationally.
Yes. It reminded me of the Spanish separatists.
Yes, the leader.
Yes, who fled into Europe.
Yes.
Was arrested by Interpol, and he went to court for a trial, because there has to be a trial before to confirm that those charges are against the law, for them to now accept the extradition from whichever country it was in Europe then. So Nnamdi Kanu's case is going to go. That's why I said
almost in that way.
That if you read it out of context, you would think that he's declaring a war again to make Nigeria. No. He just said, I'm going to go through the due process. Like you said, he's being on bail. Everything is truly that they are revoking the bail. It's due process they're following, not for any reason. If you were given conditions to go on bail and you're not appearing in court, and the next thing to do, trial will continue in your absence, but you're supposed to show for the sentencing, found guilty or not. So Nnamdi Kanu is just saying, I will wait for you to make the reach out through the Interpol, the only agency through which you can reach me, and I would react by declaring a legal war.
Okay. There's some statements, and I want to pick them one after the other. He said he actually dared the federal government to come for him if they could. He stressed that the bail revocation was a ploy to make the international police stop him from traveling freely across the world to make a case for the independence of Biafra. That's one. He also said that the bail revocation is completely meaningless to him. He said his devotion to absolute and his absolute pursuit of total restoration of the sovereignty of the Republic of Biafra is unwavering. He says, my lawyers are waiting for the Interpol red notice against my name, and hell will break loose.
You know, you see, where it's a game of words now, semantics. All he's saying there is, if you didn't read the complete statement, it will be understood to be that he's ready to. He has something to do. He's just saying, I know the game plan. I'm going to be in the know with it. Once I have the alert for the Interpol arrest, I will invoke the legal battle. And if that be the case, that he is traveling across the world, British citizen, nobody can arrest him. Because he's a British citizen, he will be having consular protection across the country. But that would not also stop him. So even if he traveled to anywhere in the world and his lawyers and Interpol arrest him there, they will not repatriate him from there to Nigeria
immediately.
They will also try him because a British citizen, before they even said if those charges are not recognized by the British legal system, being a British citizen, they will not respond. And Interpol, the judges in that area will not give judgment for him to be repatriated. So it's just about legalism. But the point that it should dare them to come is there are words that he is used to ratchet up the heat and create awareness for his presence again. He's been quiet after the exit. Towards the election, a month to the election, he came up and said...
Before he was cited in Israel?
Yes, he came to the elections and said there will be no elections, boycott. 2 days to the election, he said they have agreed there should be elections. So he's getting the hearing that he wants to get.
There are people who have also said that the Nigerian media, the presidency, the political class have somewhat given him too much attention. We've made him so loud. Hence, that we created the Nnamdi Kanu because apparently he seems to be making the news every other day. And you also said something similar.
That the dysfunctional system of the nation
allows this. We need to get a clear picture of exactly the emergence of Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu himself is, as I've said, is an offshoot of a underlying situation, historical situation. We are aware of the Civil War, then the Biafra agitation for Biafra, and then the self-determination movement. You must realize that there was also a movement, a mass movement, if you ask me, in terms of the independent people of Biafra. So
you think he took advantage of the situation that was already
he emerged from that as a ethnic demagogue from that movement. That movement created him. We would not have been talking about, there are so many other Biafra groups, self-determination groups in that space. But we are talking about Nnamdi Kanu today on the basis of that movement, that uprising that followed that 2015, post-2015 election at that level. Now, back to the legal
let's keep it short, we don't have too much time.
The legal situation. Now, we have, within international law, we need to examine the charges against Nnamdi Kanu in the Nigerian court vis-a-vis the jurisprudential space in Britain. Now, the charges against Nnamdi Kanu are questions on treasonable felony in terms of the criminal charge sheet, treasonable felony, levying war against the state and all that. But embedded within those charges is the fact that he is a leader of a group agitating for self-determination. Self-determination in itself is already a universally acknowledged right. So
it's not necessarily a crime.
Yes. It's not a crime. So
correct.
Now, even in Britain itself, there are a lot of self-determination.
Of course, I mean, we have Ireland and we have, you know,
Scotland, in Ireland, and
yes.
all that. Now, it will be an interesting issue for both the British courts and the Nigerian courts to be invited to answer whether it's right, is fundamental right to agitate for self-determination can be criminally liable, and whether the British, having invoked his British citizenship, he can enjoy the protection of the British state against. That is why he called those charges trump-up charges within that light. Okay. Whether he can enjoy the protection of the state vis-a-vis the embedded civil implications in the criminal charges.
Yes, he actually also said that because he did not, it was just the words of agitating for your rights, and that there were no bombs or whatever,
no guns,
no guns to now say there's an attempt to overthrow.
Cannot be even charged for terrorism. It was not even charged for terrorism.
So he knows what he's saying. He's well schooled in his activities.
All right.
And Nigeria
we'll watch this story develop. But let's move over to the House of Representatives, where the tussle for leadership has begun. Let's start with your thoughts. Femi Gbajabiamila was in the running in the 8th Assembly, which he narrowly missed him, apparently. And then he fell on the now Speaker, who is going to be handing over. But then now he has thrown his hat into the ring, saying, I want to be, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the House of Reps. He says, I seek the office of Speaker to bring our tendencies together and unite us as a country. So I'm wondering, how does a Speaker unite? You know, is that enough reasons for me to want him as a Speaker? Let's examine that.
Femi Gbajabiamila is not unqualified for the position. He's had a whole lot of legislative experience, having been in the House for about 4 terms. I think this is the 5th term or more. He has been. So he's experienced in that area. But my worry is about the APC that don't even that are not even proactive. This happened in the last dispensation. And here again, everybody, the issue surrounding, there are other 8 contenders for the position. And the issue is about zoning, representation, having an all-inclusive government, both across the executive, legislature, and the judiciary. And some are saying that if the party should zone properly, then it shouldn't be him. So they're just hitting up the space. If you asked me, and I blame APC, this is what happened to them before the last election, where they had issues with the various states where they didn't have elections.
But the APC, quickly, the APC said they have learned that they let snakes into their party, and now they want to get it right. So, I mean...
They've not, if you listen to the other contenders, saying that the party has zoning structure, and they have not come out to say, we zone the Speaker to this part. So it's not going to be because you are more powerful or you're more qualified to come and take the position. It's going to be where the party zones it to. So allowing this interplay is what leads to the problem that APC comes to experience. At the end of the day, all the candidates are the 8 other contenders are APC members. So you're going to create a divide. You're going to create room for people to also align with other forces and take him out. And that
means that we might have what happened, maybe not exactly, but something,
so
is that like...
The party structure is weak. They don't even understand the terrain to come out from Ab Initio said, look, because people think that Gbajabiamila is not coming because of his qualification, he come because he has a godfather somewhere who wants him to be there.
Well, we have to go. Unfortunately, we don't have too much time, but I want to thank you very much, gentlemen, for being part of the show. Of course, Ogenere Borue Soje, he's a public affairs analyst, and Ayo Ademiluyi is an attorney. He's of the NBA Lekki Forum, and he's their secretary. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, let's take a look at our plus package with special focus to the leadership of the House of Representatives. And when we come back, we'll be wrapping things up. Stay with us.
The battle for the speakership of the House of Representatives intensifies as incumbent majority leader Femi Gbajabiamila officially declared his intention on Sunday.
Understanding the nuances and intricacies of this very critical arm of government and the need for its independence and at the same time interdependence. With all sense of humility, I seek this office with a rich legislative background and pedigree. And having just won a historic fifth-term mandate to the House, I have in the last 16 years dedicated my life to the service of my constituents and Nigeria.
The competence, experience, untainted personal record, and excellent leadership traits, what will I be offering to you in terms of policy trust?
And wherever the speaker emerges from, it should not be a matter of great concern.
He's a lawyer by profession. He understands the House rules. He understands the Constitution. He can interpret the rules.
One secret about you, let me put it public today. When somebody looked at you from afar, he may mistake you for a rigid person, very rigid. You look terribly in the face.
This public affairs analyst has described the lawmaker as the most suitable candidate the All Progressives Congress can field.
Yes, I think Yabamila is experienced, and he's proving himself over the time to be a very competent lawmaker. At least he has represented well and in discussion on issues in the House and all that. So you perhaps want to say that he's one of the best legs that APC can ever put forward for this night House of Representatives. So I think, yeah, it's one of the best. It's one of the best hands, and if they succeed, it will be better for the country and for lawmaking in the country. And he's somebody that believes in separation of power, but at the point there also should be a collaboration, like a fusion in a way to work with the executive and help them to implement whatever. I mean, make law that will help them to implement whatever policy they have in mind. And so I think to that extent, it's not about fight, the executive and legislature fighting everything. That's not how nations are developed. So I think Bayabamila is somebody, really his understanding, his diplomacy, his tact, his experience, I think for me, is perhaps the best I can see in that House.
At least 17 members of the House are jostling for the leadership seat in the House. Mary Chinda for Plus TV Africa.
Well, it's time for my take. How do we have a united Nigeria if we're divided along different lines of politics, religion, ethnicity, and the likes of it? How can we be one nation bound in freedom, peace, and unity when the lines are not blurred? Well, to stop blurring the lines, it starts with you, because this is a country where the first question you get asked is, are you an indigene? The moment we squash that, then we can have a united Nigeria. I'm Mary Anacone, and it's been Plus Politics. See you tomorrow.